Welcome to the Peace and Possibilities podcast. This is Julie Bruns, and you are about to be inspired. I am so excited to share my conversations with amazing people from all walks of life who figured out how to be happy, peaceful, and content doing work they love and making the world a better place so that you can see what's possible for your life. I can't wait to hear what you think. Send me an email and let me know one thing you're taking away from this episode. And never forget, anything really is possible. Welcome, everyone. I am with my guest this week, Marshan Allen. Welcome, Marshan. Am I saying your name perfectly?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
And thank you.
Good. All right. So I heard about Marshan's story through Illinois Tech, and I'm a big fan. And I read about them all the time and the work they're doing. And now that I'm working there, it's a fabulous community with fabulous people. And I read a story about your journey and how you're a law student now and this crazy journey that you've been on. I just was very inspired by you and your story. And that's why we're talking today. So I'm happy that you're here.
And thank you for inviting me. And I'm happy to be here and to say hello to your audience as well.
Thank you. So when you were growing up, so I think did you grow up in Chicago? Where did you grow up?
I did, on the southeast side of Chicago.
Okay. Yeah. So me too. I grew up in the suburbs, but so you had an interesting beginning to your life, and you didn't go off to college or anything immediately. Now you're in law school, right? You're in law school at Kent College Law.
I am. I started a class over the summer, and the fall semester starts Monday. So.
Okay. Did you always know you wanted to go to law school and become an attorney?
Oh, absolutely not. That was something that happened later on in life. It wasn't even on the radar when I was a child. Yeah.
So when you were growing up and, as a little boy, what did you dream about doing?
Oh, so when I was young, my dad was a bus and a truck driver. And so my brother and I used to go to work with him when we were younger. And for a while, I wanted to be a truck driver. As I got older, I realized that I was really good with my hands and that I love tinkering with things around the house. I used to build like clubhouses in our backyard and fix things. Later, probably my preteens, early teens, I developed an interest in cars. And I began working on cars, doing like minor repairs and even installing audio systems. This is probably when I was like 14, 15 years old. And at that time, I was dead set on like growing up and having my own auto mechanic shop. That's where I was headed to.
Okay.
And then later in life, as I got older, probably like in my early 20s, mid 30s and stuff, I got interested into business and investing in real estate. And I wanted to start my own real estate investment and property management firm. So those were my interests up until probably, I can't remember what age it was, but me becoming an attorney was a gradual thing. Wanted to become an attorney. I became a paralegal probably in 2000. I took a paralegal class and became a paralegal and started learning the law and realized that I really understood it and was able to apply it. And that's where that interest started. And
cool.
Went from there.
So you had a lot of interests as a young man and then growing up.
I did have a lot of interest. And I think that, and I don't know if you want me to share now, but I think that a lot of my interest was a little, because I ended up I was incarcerated when I was young. At the age of 15, I was incarcerated. I was a sophomore in high school, got incarcerated, and ended up being sentenced to life without parole in prison for a crime that I was involved in. And I served 25 years in prison. And so a lot of my business interests, my interest in investing in real estate occurred while I was there. I took a lot of time to like learn as much as I could while I was there, and Every time I learned something new, my interest would change.
Oh,
But that was one of the things that really spoke to me. I took a business class while I was in prison, and it really opened my eyes up to a new world that I didn't even know existed. And for one, like before that, learning about investment, I used to say I would never put my money in the stock market because you hear the stories about the stock market crashing and people losing money. But once I started learning about it and getting a better idea how it worked, I was my later thing was like I can't wait to put my money into the stock market,
yeah.
to start investing and doing things. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you learned a lot. You learned a lot while you were incarcerated, and you chose to take that time and make something of yourself. But I have no idea how often that happens. I have a feeling, is it I mean, you would probably know better than me. Is that something that how many people leave that situation and come out with an education and with new ideas and pursuing new goals? I don't know how often that happens. I would probably guess that you're
um,
special in that regard.
well, I don't. I was yes and no. I think I'm only special in the sense that I had a lot of support. There are not a lot of educational opportunities in prison for people, particularly people who are serving long-term sentencing. So if you are in, say, in Illinois and maximum security prison like Stateville, now there are more programs now today. But before there weren't a lot of programs or programs available. You get your GED and that's it. I was fortunate because I was able to take classes through the mail. I took correspondence courses. My paralegal course was a course I took through the mail, and I even I paid for it with my prison job. I remember paying $50 a month, because I wanted to do that. So I think it's unique in that sense, or especially in the sense that I was able. Even my mom helped me to take a business management course early on, a correspondence course. So especially in the sense I had those opportunities that a lot of people didn't have, but not in the sense that there are people there that desire it and want it, and the people that have access to it, they try to take advantage of it to make themselves better.
Okay. Okay. So what do you think along the way as you were taking these courses and learning more and then getting out and getting more of an education, what was keeping you successful, and what do you attribute that to? What was the drive about? How did that manifest for you and keep you motivated, I guess, and happy along the way as you were pursuing your education and more
I think
opportunities?
I think that, of course, all this happening while I'm incarcerated. Before that, I didn't like school. I didn't want to go to school. I learned to appreciate school later on while I was incarcerated. And so even though I was serving a life without parole sentence, which means I was never going to come home, I believed in my heart that I didn't belong there. I didn't deserve to spend the rest of my life there. And I always believed that one day I was going to come home. And so I started preparing myself for that. I knew that I had little experience being locked up at the age of 15, that I didn't never work a job. I didn't graduate from high school. I got my GED while I was incarcerated as well. But I knew that when I came home, I was determined that to be successful. And I was determined that I was never going back to prison again. And I knew that the only way that that was going to be possible was that I educate myself and make myself prepare for the job market. I had very little experience with computers. Fortunately, I was able to take a computer technology course that helped me out and helped me with my work now. Otherwise, I would probably be still years behind, even using technology. But I think that success was really my desire to learn and my desire to not allow my circumstances and the negative environment I in to prevent me from doing what I knew I needed to do for myself to be successful.
That's awesome. It's a great lesson for any young person or even someone in their mid-career that's like thinking about they want to make a change, but it's like it's those same traits that get you through the hard times, that get you that keep you determined to do the thing that you want to do, that the passion is like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to have something when I'm done, and I'm going to change my the trajectory, and I'm going to have a different end to my story. I mean, all of those things they're transferable to everyone, because that's what you need to do if you want to achieve what you set out to achieve. So I really admire that, especially just being able to be that way and feel that way while you were in such a sad place, in a place that was obviously you weren't happy to be there. So it says a lot about your character that you can do that. You can shine and move ahead even though you're at a place where I'm sure that wasn't very easy. So kudos to you.
But thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So what advice do you have for people that are searching for
a meaningful career? Because like you said, your interest changed a lot. It was business, it was real estate. It was like, yeah, I'm like you though. I learned something new, and then I'm like, wait, maybe I want to go over here instead. But I tend to do that too because I think it's going to be a certain way, and then when I get in, I'm like, oh, it's not what I thought. So what advice do you have for people that are searching for a meaningful career, or maybe even students that are graduating and saying, I have that degree now, and I think I want to do something else? What do you say to them?
I mean, the first thing is like to keep an open mind. Don't put yourself into a box where you, like when I was a teenager, where I was dead set on becoming a mechanic. I think that if I hadn't taken a different path, that I probably would have stayed on that path.
Mm,
Uh, but I think also it's just like continue to learn and build on your skills, and exposing yourself to other things. Like when I was growing up, I didn't have access to attorneys. There were no attorneys in my family. There were no attorneys that I know of in my neighborhood. I'm not even sure I was even familiar with any TV shows that featured attorneys at that time when I was a teenager. So I wasn't watching. I wasn't interested in that. I wanted to watch
yeah.
cartoons and fun stuff. So
Mm,
I would say even like try to expose yourself to different careers or people who are in different careers. Um, but definitely continue to learn and grow and to build your skill level. And also understanding your strengths and weaknesses. I think
mm,
that's a key thing, and to improve them. If you can always improve. If you have strengths, you can always improve those to make them stronger. And then if you have weaknesses, you definitely want to turn those into your strengths. But the main thing is like just try different things to find out what speaks to you. I think the most important thing about any career or doing something is doing something that makes you happy, that you can come home and feel happy about. And so I would just say try different things till you find that one thing, or maybe it's two things that you really are passionate about, and it speaks to your heart.
I love that. It's great advice. What speaks to you? Because a lot of people will, you said that they try it and then they know it doesn't speak to their heart, and then they keep going for it, which I also admire. I mean, people that are sticking through something or sticking it out. But if you really know you made a mistake, it's not the thing you want to do. You don't want to
Yeah,
waste more time. Like take that information and do something with it. It's not what I wanted it to be or what I thought it was going to be. Now I'm changing. You're the one who has to live your life um at experience all the consequences to all the decisions you make, not no one else. So when people say to you, oh, you should stick it out to do that, you're the one that has to stick it out. You're the one that has to live with the decisions you make. So if you make a mistake, that's okay. Everyone does.
yeah,
Just choose something else. So I love that idea. Like what speaks to you, try a bunch of different things, and you just never know. And keep an open mind, because what you think something's going to be almost is always never exactly how you think it's going to be, which is and that's okay too. You're learning new things, and expose yourself to as many new things as you can. And I'm like you, where I didn't grow up in the same place. I mean, but I didn't have exposure to um all of the possibilities. A CEO of a company, an entrepreneur is like, that wasn't talked about when I was in high school. It was like you pick a job, you want to be a nurse, you want to be a teacher, you go get a college degree in those things, and then that's what you do.
right.
It wasn't like it is now with all these podcasts and people telling stories and social media, and you weren't exposed to all of the possibilities. And so now it's good and bad. I think there's a lot of stuff on social media that doesn't necessarily help you, but there's definitely a lot that shows you, hey, if someone else is doing this, that means it's possible. I'm exposing myself to it. I can get a little
Mhm.
bit more information about it, and then I can make a better decision instead of just picking one thing, thinking that's the path, going on it, and then making a mistake and realizing you just wasted 10 or 20 years in whatever, a job or getting an education that you don't even want to use. It's important stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah,
you're absolutely right. No, I was
yeah,
going to say you're absolutely right, and I think that that was one of the deterrents of me going to law school and becoming a lawyer, because I went into prison at the age of 15, came home at 41, and now I'm actually 46 and in law school. But it was just the age factor too that was hindering me at first. That was what was discouraging me from going this path. I'm like, I'm too old. I just need to find something that I can do now. But luckily, like my career now, even with the organization I work for, I'm able to use the knowledge and the skills that I gained while I was incarcerated and the experience that I had to help change lives and make it better. So it kind of is a continuum.
yeah,
And I think I'm always going to be like a career student, and I love learning and stuff. So that was one of the things that I like. I can go to school. I don't mind going to school for 4 years.
yeah.
It's a little difficult at times, but I definitely love learning and the things that I'm learning and being able to make myself a better person and an advocate for others.
Yeah, I love that. My husband used to say to me, too bad you can't get paid just to go to school. Because I'm like you. I love learning. I love taking classes,
Mhm.
which is probably why I'm doing what I'm doing now. I just think I never get tired of it. I never get tired of learning new things. Okay, so I have a couple of questions for you. Is there anything you wished you learned earlier in your life or career? Like what's sticking out for you now? Something you wish you'd learned earlier in your life or career?
I think one thing is, and I think I touched on this before, like the importance of education. You know, when you were a kid and you're growing up, you don't want to go to school. You know, you want to play. And I know that even when I was a teenager, not even like in grade school, elementary school, like when I got into high school, like I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it. Um, but I think that that's one thing that I did learn later on in life, like the importance of education. I mean, not even just going to college and getting a degree, but just educating yourself about around anything with a technical skill, vocational skill, anything, just educating yourself is really important. And I think just like I just wish that I had been exposed, you know, had proximity to other careers and other people
Yeah,
who are doing other things.
yeah,
So you know, professionals that I didn't have as a kid because, like you mentioned too, like it was like a teacher, a mechanic, or you know, it was always like trades. It wasn't a CEO of a company. It wasn't, you know, become an attorney or a doctor, those things wasn't talked about. So I wish that those conversations had happened. I
yeah,
remember my mom growing up, my mom told my brothers and I that all she asked of us was a GED, just to get our GED. And I appreciate that because I know she had a hard time. She didn't graduate from high school. She got her GED, and it was a big accomplishment for her. But I wish that like my family members had encouraged me to dream bigger. Like yeah,
yeah,
GED or high school diploma is. We know she said not GED. She said high school diploma. Get your high school diploma. But I wish that my family had encouraged me to dream bigger, to shoot for the moon, you know,
yeah.
and then you know I can land wherever I landed, but at least put that thought in my idea to want and do more. And that's one thing that I have wished because I think that it probably would have influenced me a lot as a kid.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's so important for parents, and even if they don't have all of the resources that they'd like to have for for wherever they are with their kids, their families, etc., exposing them to it. So I think it's a lot easier now. For you and I, when we were in school, there wasn't all of this exposure that there is out there now, on TV, in the movies, in social media, etc. But that really is, they need to see, and I know Oprah Winfrey used to tell a story about that, where she saw someone on TV and she's like, if they can do it, oh, that person kind of looks like me. If they can do it, that means maybe I can do that too. And if you don't ever see an example of that, you think that must not be possible
Yeah,
because no
you don't
one's
know.
doing it. It's not true. It's not true. And also, just because you don't see the example doesn't mean you couldn't be the very first person to do it. But if you're not told that
Right.
and you're not encouraged, and I'm sure your mom had, good intentions, but if you're not still like shoot for the moon, you don't want to see your kids fail and you want to disappoint them. So a lot of times you just say, okay, well, you can just do this. It's like, oh, there's so much more possible. And I think if we're taught that earlier on,
Yeah.
um, I see that. I see that all the time. It's like, well, I just have this. It's like, no, you don't. You have that. You have, think about all the, we're not taught to list our accomplishments and celebrate what we've achieved. We're taught, what are we working on that's going to make us better, instead of like, oh my gosh, look how far you've come. Look at all the things you've done. And if you did all that, imagine what else is possible. So I think it's having that conversation, especially with young high school kids and college students, to say, like, the sky really is the limit. How much effort do you want to put into it? You got to love learning, like you said. You want to get educated. You have to be able to learn new things and want to learn new things. But really, the sky is the limit. I mean, there's living proof all over the place now. We can see.
It is. It
Yeah,
really is.
yeah,
It really
yeah.
is.
Okay, so I have two final questions for you. You can answer them however, whatever order you would like. What's the greatest gift that you offer the world? And what's one new thing you're taking away from our conversation today?
The greatest gift I offer to the world, I would say just myself, my heart. You know, who I am, you know, is shaped by the experiences that I had in life. And those experiences you mentioned, like very unique, especially to the average person. Where I grew up at is not so unique with people, you know, going to prison and knowing someone and going to prison. But I know for the average person, it's very unique. But the things that I've been through, the people I've met, the lessons that I've learned, they all help to shape and mold me into who I am today and what I'm doing. And so that's what I offer, and try to share with the world every day, just the best of me and all of me, to help try to make the world a better place. That's,
Mhm.
I think that is the essence of what I try to do every day, is just bring everything that is me to bear in the work that I'm doing, and to share, even like sharing my story with you today. It's like, this is what I have to offer. This is me, and this is it. And for your last question, I think that the biggest thing, or the one thing I would take away from this conversation today, is that importance of, or understanding that even someone in my growing up in limited resources, stuff like that, that it's still important for people who do have resources to have exposure too. I know that they do have more exposure than most, but I think that even having that conversation with someone like me, or being exposed to my story for someone with resources, would be very important for them as well. And I think that in my life, I have been focusing on people like even who grew up in the neighborhood like I grew up in, or who had similar circumstances like me, or trying to prevent them from going down the right path. But I think that my story, my experiences, and things I go through is universal and can apply to everyone.
Yeah, I love that. So true. You're right. It's like everyone has hardships. They're different at different levels, of course, and not everyone's exposed to the same things growing up and has the same opportunities. But everyone actually does have a choice as to how they can proceed from their experiences, how they can learn more, how they can try to get out of it, whatever. We always have control over our mind and what we're going to do differently, and our actions. We do. We have that choice every single day. And you're living proof that it's possible, and getting out of a bad situation is possible. And now look, you're taking that, and you're going to have this new gift to offer everyone that says, like, how can I help you? You're going to be an attorney, and you're going to be able to say, I can help you with that. I can help you get out of trouble. I can help you solve a problem, just like I had. And I'm so happy for you that you're pursuing something like that, and you're going to be able to spend the rest of your career helping people that need it. So congratulations on all your success and accomplishments.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you for having me here on your program today, and willing to share my story.
Yeah, I'm so excited, and hopefully we can meet in person soon. I would love to meet you, and I think you're an inspiration, and one more example of what's possible. So you're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, well, congratulations. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you, they can find you on LinkedIn.
Yes, LinkedIn. Sorry, my puppy's barking. But yeah, so LinkedIn, you can reach out to me, connect with me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. All right, thanks, Marshan. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
Take care. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening. I hope you loved this episode. Don't forget to like us, subscribe, review, and share it. I hope you were truly inspired. And for a little more inspiration, don't forget to pick up my book, Peace, Possibilities, and Perspective: 8 Secrets to Serenity and Satisfaction in Your Life and Career. I can't wait to get you love in your life.